You're watching the Original Music Podcast with your hosts Raymond Hems and Rick Gathman.
All right, here we go. Episode 44. Tonight we have SHAYLA McDANIEL, who's a artist out of Knoxville, Tennessee. How you doing tonight, SHAYLA?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for coming on tonight. I just wanted to kind of get to know you because we are doing a show together.
Yay. I'm excited.
November 18th, Atlanta, Sweetwater Bar and Grill. And it's, I believe, your first time actually performing in Atlanta.
Yes, it is. And I'm so pumped about it. And I've been trying to play in Atlanta for a while, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be there.
Yeah, you are. You're definitely there. Let's talk about that real quick. Before I get to know how you got started in music and all that kind of stuff, how did COVID affect you as an artist? I mean, obviously nobody was playing anywhere, but did it help you, hurt you, empower you? What happened there?
In the beginning, I remember thinking, oh, this will be cleared up by June. Everything will be back to normal. And I remember in the beginning, I started buying like what I call show clothes, like stuff I wouldn't wear.
Sure.
Like normal everyday life, like super shiny shirts and like fun pants and that kind of thing. But obviously it went past June. But overall, I feel like it empowered me and it helped me. Though it was very frustrating because I felt like if I wasn't playing shows, I wasn't progressing, which I know not to be true because I grew up in the era of the internet. I'm the person who has to have like this whole listed out thing of social media posts for each day. And if I miss a day, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to disappear and everybody's going to forget about me.
Yeah.
I don't post every day. I try my best to post something every day, but I don't. But I end up doing pretty consistently. So, and also it helped me, I guess, or it gave me time to slow down and write more music because I had gotten away from writing music because I feel like my music career is like 98% business on the computer, sending emails, doing spreadsheets and boring stuff, and 2% with a guitar in my hand or a mic in my face.
Yeah.
So it gave me more time to write, which was good. And I'm an introvert, so I kind of liked not being around people because like it's draining sometimes for me.
Yeah.
But I like people. It's just I need to like ration my energy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like there's this band called Deep Sea Diver out of Seattle, and they had on Instagram, they had a weekly Sunday night live stream series going called hashtag Stay Home Stems. And what it is, it just be like a normal band live stream because the leader, Jessica Dobson, and the drummer, Peter Manson, they're married. So we have like the main two parts of the band, the lead singer who plays guitar and keys and the drummer. And they would like do like concert stuff. We would just hang out, chat with everybody. It was really fun. But at the end of it, they would always make some kind of stem, whether it was a drum beat, a guitar thing, or one of their other players would send like a synth part or something. And what it is, you take that little stem and you make your own song out of it. And then you post it on SoundCloud and tag them or whatever. And they would go through their favorite ones. And it was just a way to really keep me writing. And like, of course not, I'm not going to use all of them.
Okay, so
one song that sorry.
Hold on that for a second. So they would put when you say a stem, are you talking about like a sample that loops and then you could write around that, or was it a 1 minute thing, a 2 minute thing, and then you play on top of?
It depended like on what it was that week, because like one time it was just like a guitar riff that lasted maybe 2 measures.
Okay.
And then one time it was like a drum beat that was loopable.
Right.
And then sometimes it would just be like a chord progression from a synth. And like one time it was like a spoken word poem. I forgot who it was by. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it was Langston Hughes or who it was, but it was a poem. It was like, oh, cool. I get to compose for like spoken word, you know? So it was a mix every week. It just depended, which kept me on my toes.
Yeah. And that was during COVID. So they were craving interacting with crowds and stuff. And so everybody kind of moved to the internet, live streams, podcast type of format. that I think that's going to be a big pivot from what came from COVID was everybody got creative. Nobody could be around each other. And then the whole video format came out strong.
Yeah, I did.
So you say you're typically introverted, but yet you play shows for crowds. And how does that work?
So basically, I save all my energy for the shows, essentially.
Yeah.
And like normally when I'm on stage, I can't really see too much of the crowd anyway,
Sure.
even if it's a smaller room, because the way I have the lights angled at myself, I don't see anything.
Sure.
And I didn't do that on purpose. This happened. It started happening maybe the past 3 or 4 shows because we were talking earlier about having enough light for the camera to pick up.
Yep.
And the way I just so happened to angle the lights, it's like, wow, I'm on a huge stage. I could be playing the Super Bowl right now, or I could be playing a small cafe. I can't tell. And so that helps with nerves a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I tend to close my eyes for 2 reasons. One, so I don't get distracted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
forget my lyrics, which it happens sometimes. Not as much. Actually, it hasn't happened in a while now, thank God.
Hey, knock on wood.
Yes, where's my wood? There
Yeah.
we go. But I remember one time I was playing like a fall festival situation, and they had these big inflatable beach balls that people could get inside and run like hamster wheels.
Oh, yeah.
And for a whole song, I was on autopilot. I don't know what I sang, what I played. I'm sure it was fine, but it was like, I don't like being distracted. I'm going to have to close my eyes.
Yeah. Well, people in a hamster wheel, they call those balls something, and they knocker balls or something like that.
Yeah. They had those too. Yeah.
It's very easy to be on stage, and you're so into playing the song and performing the song, but you can simply look at something or somebody and just absolutely be like, you just have just seize, and you're like, oh, whoa, you get caught back up.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens, actually.
Me too. It's a bugger.
I couldn't imagine, I've seen pictures of it might have been Metallica or some. They had a crowd of 100,000 people. It was just like a mass of people. Wow. How can you not get distracted on a show like that? Kind of blows my mind how they do that.
They're like top notch.
Yeah,
I guess that's the best way to describe it. They're just
and they've been doing it
on a whole other level.
They've been doing it a long time. So how did you get started? Writing as an original music artist. When did you start playing guitar? Because is that your main instrument?
Yes. I feel like guitar and bass are kind of tied for main because I started learning them at the same time. I think I'm better at bass though. Actually, I am better at bass. Because one of my musicians in my band always makes fun of me. He's like, oh, you should learn this or do this song or maybe you should try this here. It's like, dude, I can't play that fast on guitar. It's just not there, which is weird to say. But anyway, I'm not going to get the 10 calories right now. You asked me, what was the question? How did I get started?
Yeah, music. When was when you were a kid and everybody else was gravitating towards, the latest fad, whatever it was, and you were like, oh, no, give me something that makes notes. When did that happen? I
was about 12, I think in 6th grade, because I remember even as like a little kid, like 4 and 5, I would always be like, man, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to play what I called a country guitar, which was an acoustic guitar. I didn't know the name of it. I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So at one point, me and my brother, we had pulled up our Christmas money together and we had some Toys R Us gift cards. And at the time, First Act was like the brand for like entry level musicians and stuff. And I didn't know I don't even know if Amazon was selling stuff other than books in 2004-ish. I don't know.
Probably
but
books.
I didn't know about buying stuff on the internet at the time. So what I saw was like Toys R Us, Walmart, Target, and everybody had First Act. I said, you know what? We're going to save up. We're going to get us one of these acoustic guitars. I knew what they were called in 6th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we saved up and we got it. And it was pure acoustic. It didn't have electronics in it or anything.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was like, how are you guys going to play it? I was like, that's a good question. So she got us a DVD by Susan Mazer. It was an instructional DVD for guitar.
Wow.
And I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. And it came with a book too.
Sure.
I was at this point playing violin too, so that helped a lot. That's helped a ton actually. So I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, where the University of Tennessee is located. Go Vols.
Yeah.
And in elementary school, I think it was 5th grade. They had some interns who would come and teach orchestra instruments to the students for free, which was really nice. It's just you had to find a way to rent your instrument.
Yep.
And they had violin, viola, and cello. They didn't teach bass because they said 5th graders, even like the smallest bass, that's not going to be the best thing.
Right.
Just like logistically. But it's funny because in 5th grade I was like 5'5", and like I was taller than my mom.
Wow.
I was a big kid. I had my growth spurt early.
How tall are you
now?
now?
I'm 5'8" though.
5'8"?
Now
Okay.
I'm 5'8", so I still grew like another
stopped.
3 inches.
Yeah.
And a lot of pounds. But hey,
Hey, we all. Yeah.
we all do that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn bass because they had mentioned, oh, if you learn upright bass, you learn bass guitar at the same time. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
But then they tell us that cool fact and say, oh yeah, since you guys are so small, we're not teaching bass. And I was like, well, why'd you tell me that?
Yeah, you cheated.
Then my next choice, like it's like why even mention that?
Yeah.
But I really really wanted to play cello because I just thought it sounded so beautiful.
Yeah, it does.
But 2 reasons I didn't play cello. One, I didn't want to carry that to school every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 2, we had already started learning treble clef, and cello is on bass clef. And I was like, well, we started learning treble clef in our regular kids music class.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to take my recorder skills
Yeah.
and transfer that over to violin. So that was
Right.
2 things. Like, I'll just do violin. And so I played violin all the way up through my junior year of high school. Senior year, for some reason, I never had private lessons or anything. I just played at school.
Or and
practice
practice at
on my
home.
own. Yeah, I practiced on my own.
That's
I
the
didn't
key.
have like a... Yes, it is. It makes all the difference. And I didn't want to get bad grades, so I practiced a lot.
Yeah.
But I loved it, though.
Yeah.
And
Did you do better in the music classes than you did, say, American history or, some of the other classes?
I'm kind of a nerd,
Okay.
so everything was like even across the board.
Yeah.
I really like science, but I didn't get to do orchestra my senior year just because of a weird scheduling thing. They had me in weight training instead, which was one of my alternates, and they're both... Sorry.
Did you do sports?
Yeah, so I played basketball, and I did a little bit of track, like shot put, discus, and I think I ran 1 relay.
Yeah.
In middle school, but in high school I didn't. I just did pure basketball.
Yeah.
My plan was to do basketball and volleyball, but basketball took over.
Sure.
And looking back at that, even at the time, I was like, man, I just need to quit and do volleyball because I was pretty good at it and it was way more fun.
Yeah.
But basketball,
Less
just
running.
happened and... Yes, and like it's better. It's like side to side, and it's like quick stuff. I'm better at that. I'm not the fastest on my feet, but I was good at volleyball. But I should have tried out. Anyway, I'm sorry. I've gotten us off track.
That's track.
So, weight training and orchestra was only taught 2nd period both semester, and same with weight training. Somehow I ended up with like my last alternate of weight training in there, and it was a fun class, and it was a cool class because it ended up being one of the few classes that was like even for the most part, boys and girls.
Right.
But I was like, why did they give me orchestra? I'm a senior, like I'm supposed to get first pick, and like there's never... And the capacity for orchestra, the band room was huge. It was like, I don't know, 70 kids.
Yeah.
But there's not even 70 kids at the 3,000 student high school that play an orchestra instrument who signed up.
Right.
There's maybe 30 or 40 of us
Yeah.
tops. I was like, why didn't I get it?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel like fussing with the guidance counselors and scheduling. I'll just keep weight training, and I've got bass and guitar. I've got music in my life, so I'm not worried. And like, so all that kind of happened together at once. And also at my church, there was... He actually plays in my band now. He played bass, and Jeremy Allen, at church, but then he went to college.
Sure.
And then he left the bass at church, and his dad was the guy who was over the music department at the time.
Yeah. Music director.
And my brother was like, yes.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, he's 4 years younger than me. He's like, oh, I want to play bass. And then he did it for like, I don't know, 2 weeks and got tired of it. And naturally, I picked it up and started messing around. I was like, hey, it's got 4 strings like violin. It's just backwards and it's big, but it sounds cooler in certain situations. And then a little bit after that, I want to say it was that same year maybe, we pulled our money for the guitar. But I still have that guitar. It's more like a sentimental piece.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely. Never get rid of
speaking,
that. Yeah.
No, I'll always keep that. It's funny because I'm laughing because there's this one acoustic guitar I have. I got it for like a steal.
Yeah.
But I took it to the local guitar shop for them to set it up and everything. Yep. I mean, I can set up my own guitar, but I want to support. Yeah, I want to support local, and those guys are way better at it than I am, so might as well.
Yeah.
And then I remember coming back. They called me. He's like, "Okay, it's ready." And I came back, and he was like, "Well, Shayla, this guitar is beautiful, but this is what I like to call a guitar-shaped object. This is for sentimental purposes only." I was like, dang.
Yeah.
So that was another guitar I have, so I don't play that one. And the kicker is about that, it has really good electronics. I don't know if they're Fishman, but they sound like they're Fishman.
Sure.
But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, my first guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, first guitar.
I love it.
And so you tend to, when you write, do you write with bass and vocal? How do you typically write?
I am all over the place.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll start with like a drum and bass beat in my head, and I'll do it into my phone.
Right.
And sometimes it'll just be like me singing a lyric. Sometimes it could be a lyric with a chord progression kind of going. I'm everywhere. So what I like to do, obviously I always have my phone with me, and I always carry a little notebook too, because for to-do lists and whatever I need to jot down. So I always have this big pool of ideas, and I have a Google Doc too with just a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah.
So when it's time to write, I can be like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just pick something and go.
Right.
So it's everywhere, really.
I found for me, as a guitar player, that I write riffs, I write chorus, I write bridges. I don't write lyrics at all. I'm in an instrumental band, one of them, and for me, it's like the voice recorder app that comes stock on the iPhone is my haven. I'll play something. I'm like, oop, grab the phone, boom, hit record, and then you have to name it something that's all right. Melody in B minor. Rock, jazz, whatever kind of genre. And then you go back and listen to it. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've composed full orchestrated songs off of just those beginning ideas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that notebook that you carry is key to be able to capture a quick idea, whatever it is, something you saw, what it could be anything. So that was in high school. You got through high school. When did you put together your first band or project of, hey, I got 3 or more songs, let's start a band? When that start?
So I started playing open mics. Oh my gosh, it'll be 10 years.
Yeah, great.
Yes, I love open mics. So my very first open mic was like my senior year of college. Go Vols. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm sorry. I'm in like Vols mode right now.
I love that though. I mean, where you're from affects who you are musically, even if it comes down to playing Rocky Top or it's like, boom, that's what I heard as a kid. That's what I can play. Here we go.
Exactly. So my very first open mic was a Monday night, and it was Halloween of 2013. Wow. And
10 years
it was
ago.
funny. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. And I just found the picture from it like the other day. I don't know what it fell out of, but it fell out of something. I was like, that's wild.
You keep scraps? Do you keep the scrapbook?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
like every set list I have, I just have a folder that I've just been chucking stuff in. Now I have a shelf of things that I just... Yeah. I haven't organized it. I know where all the stuff is, but it needs to be organized.
It's good to keep the memories, because trust me, as I'm much older than you are, and I've been doing it a long time, and I've had scrapbooks in the past that had some early stuff in it. I don't know where they are. Wish I had it, that kind of thing. So if you can kind of or like you said, organize it and keep it for this is the stuff you're going to pass to your kids if you have kids, or this is your legacy.
Yeah.
So treat it as such. It's important.
Yeah, and it's funny because I have this big 2 file cabinet drawer things. They're like big plastic file cabinet thing. They're huge.
Yeah.
And the bottom one is just pure sentimental music stuff. There's like local newspaper clippings. There's passes. Anything you can think of is just flyers in there. It's like, I need to go through this. Like, I really do. but I know where everything is though. That's the good part. But so that was my first open mic, and it was interesting, and it worked out perfectly because there was some kind of youth thing at church the day before in the evening, kind of like a talent show, but not really.
Yeah.
And they needed someone older, not older, but I was a college kid, like the youth were like middle and high school, to like do something, and I was like, this will be a perfect practice for my open mic. So I did that, and I felt better about it. It's funny because nobody knew I sing. Like it just, my parents basically. Yeah. And so I started open mics in 2013. 2014, open mics. 2014 was when I was kind of pushed to really go out there, but not start yet. Yeah. So there's this band called Joseph. It's 3 sisters from Portland, Oregon. In 2014, they organized a cross-country house show / people's basement cafe tour all on their own, right? Yeah. I found them on a site called Noise Trade a couple months earlier.
Say
and
that
then I saw
again? Noise Trade?
Sorry. Noise Trade. Like you trade your email address for free music. You could leave tips too if you want to. Yeah. Which was nice, but like basically you got to download. This is in the days downloads we were hybrid. Right. It was like downloads and streaming or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. These harmonies are sick. These songs are great. The lyrics are great. And then I was like, let me see if they're on tour. And then kind of find out they're playing at a friend of a friend's house, and that show was amazing. Yeah. And being a house show, you get to like talk to the band, hang out with the band. And I just remember having this huge list of questions. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry, I was too close to the mic and got excited. Sorry. But like, I just remember having this huge list of questions like about the songs and the lyrics and how they wrote it, all these songwritery questions. Yeah. And then Natalie asked me like, well, do you do music? I was like, yeah, I do open mics, but I don't know if I'm going to be like you guys and be pros at it. She was like, what's stopping you? We're just playing in people's backyards and like kitchens and living rooms, you know? Yeah. I was like, you've got a good point. And so I like tucked that away in the back of my mind. At this point, I had like maybe 10 good songs that I would like cycle through for open mics. Sure. And then I'd try out new ones, you know? And then 2015, like a week after that show, I was like, okay, I'm going to stop watching TV and just write music. Boom. And I said that because I realized I did the math. I was like, okay, boom. I'm basically either at work or traveling to work between like 6:30 a.m. and like 7 p.m. And that includes like dinner time and all that stuff. That's all taken. Yeah. So 7 o'clock, let's say I go to bed at 11. I only have 4 hours. Yep. I watch 4 shows. Yep. You know. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to cut out TV. I'll still watch a movie and stuff. Netflix here or there.
I think that is... That is such a big point. Anybody that has been a proficient guitar player, comic, artist, anybody that has contributed, made the time to focus on their art, has all had to give up TV, and socials. Unfortunately, we're so locked into having to make a post and create content and do it. But I mean, when I was growing up and learning to play guitar, I always tell people there was one channel on TV, off-air antenna, and it came in fuzzy. We listened to music and, played music, learned how to do it because there was nothing else on. And that's a good point. So when did you like start recording and doing that type of thing?
So technically I started recording in 6th grade. Wow. I laugh because I had this little mini tape recorder like you see reporters with. Now they're digital. Doctors. But it's like yeah, exactly. I had one of those. I had a medium-sized tape recorder about the size of a DVD, but like thicker. I had a karaoke machine. And I had like Microsoft PowerPoint, like 98, and then like Windows voice recorder. Yeah. And I would record the drums on one cassette thing. Yeah. And then I'd play it back, have the other cassette thing, the karaoke machine going, and play guitar. Yeah. And then I'd sing with the third one. I just keep layering it. Yeah. And by the end, it sounded like complete junk. Yeah. But I was recording, and that's how I like learned some stuff. And then my mom got me Sony Acid Music Studio.
Oh yeah. I remember Acid.
It was so good, and just looking back on it.
It was a little bit. It did something acid loops, right? Wasn't there?
I think so. I never really figured out how to use that part.
Yeah. I mean,
I just needed like separate tracks. That was my thing.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing because in high school, I remember showing my friends one of my songs and like they split the earbuds. And one friend was like, I can't hear. The other friend was like, I can hear everything. And I was like, oh, instead of turning up the volume, I did the pan. So I could only hear the right ear, but I was like, I need to fix that.
Yeah.
But so I started recording then, but like for real in 2014, because I remember that's when I like got serious about music and everything. It's like, I'm going to like cut back on TV or quit TV or whatever. Yeah. 2015, I was like, I'm going to write a song a week. And then once every 3 weeks or whatever.
Every Tuesday, I'm writing a song. I did the same exact thing.
It's so needed. And it's like every 3 or 4 weeks, I don't remember, I was like, I'm going to record my favorite one or the best one. So I bought the Focusrite that I'm using now. It's got two. It's a 2i2, so it's got two
interface
inputs
that you're using into the front of the computer.
Yes. Thank you.
How many inputs? Do you have 2 XLRs on that?
Yes, it's 2 combo jacks actually, 2
cool.
XLR / quarter inches.
Sure.
So it's pretty compact, and it's the first generation. I think they're like on the 4th now. It's a workhorse and it's super affordable. And I think I got mine in a package. So it came with this random, or not random. The mic stand was random, the cable was random, but the mic is an AT2020. Yeah. Which was perfect because everybody's like, you need a large diaphragm. It's the most versatile. I was like, okay. Yeah. And I just
being
found
a vocalist, that's probably that's a good call. You know I mean, we're gonna go down rabbit holes because that's what I like to do.
Me too.
You know, the interface, learning an instrument is part 1. Part 2 is then learning, a computer DAW, a digital workstation that you can record into, and then you have to have an interface, which is any vocal mic or guitar plug-in type cable to then record your ideas. And that's a whole nother art form that I'm hoping that with today's kids, and their technical ability, that should be almost second nature once they get the music bug, and then you can start combining all your different talents to get the ideas down.
So like I was a little bit, well, no, I wasn't. I was like in 6th grade when I first started messing around recording. I learned really fast that clipping in the digital world is not good. No. Unlike, it's not like, ooh, that's warm saturation. No. I was like, let's do it. And it's like, no, this is bad. Yeah. So I learned, as long as you keep it not yellow. Yellow is a warning.
You can always boost.
Or orange, whatever.
You can always boost.
Yes.
You can never take back.
Yes. I feel like gain staging is the most important thing, but the easiest thing to learn. Because I feel like any interface or DAW workstation has some kind of color warning. Green, you're good. Yellow or orange, you're getting too loud. Red, you're way too loud. You need to re-record.
A VU meter.
So it's like, yes, thank you. But I feel like a lot of it too, as far as the technology, there's so many tutorials now. You can't, like, because back when I was learning stuff, YouTube was like dumb cat videos. It wasn't there for a while. Then when it was there, I wasn't allowed to use YouTube, or I didn't know about it. Yeah. And, well, no, I knew about it when it came out. I just wasn't allowed to use it. And at school, it was blocked, on the internet. Yeah. They blocked all the fun sites. So I didn't know about YouTube. Yeah. I just knew, what is it, AOL Video. That's where I could watch my music videos.
But that was a good point, though. Is like YouTube back in the, and we say back in the day, it's like 12 years ago, 15, 20 tops, 25.
Yeah, tops.
But now it's so available to, I want to learn, chord shapes and chord progressions and, songs, the tutorials, backing tracks. I play backing tracks as a lead guitar player all the time because I want to hear something come at me I've never heard before. Let's go. And it's 12 minutes long, and I can just go for 12 minutes just exploring something I wouldn't have normally written. And that's how you expand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's cool. Technology, love it, hate it. Yes. It's good, it's bad. It's the whole thing.
Not gonna lie, AI is a little scary. Whenever I hear
Talk
AI,
about that.
my mind goes
Yeah.
to Terminator.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I have had some fun with some Taylor Swift covers and Harry Styles covers of my
Cool.
songs.
Yeah.
But they're not really polished or good. You can still tell they're robots or whatever.
Right.
And I heard that, I don't know if it's Universal or some music group just sued an AI company for like $4 billion. I didn't click on the link because I try to be careful on my phone because it's so easy to go down a rabbit hole and just be reading stuff for like hours. But there's a whole, not conspiracy theory, but idea about, so there was this guy named Ghostwriter who made these really, really good collabs between like Drake and I don't remember the rapper who it was, but they were AI. He wrote completely original songs, did the beats, everything. And then he just got that really big rapper and Drake on the track through AI.
Sure.
It blew up. And then it brings the question of like, oh, what about name, image, likeness for artists? Because their voice is their likeness and all this legal stuff. And I heard this one, I'm going to shout out Brand Man Network and No Labels Necessary podcast. It's a music business and marketing podcast. They were talking about it.
Yeah.
And they were like, what if one of the big three labels were behind this guy and said, hey, do something big with AI that pops off so that way we can make legislation? Because otherwise, Congress is so slow. They don't make legislation until the technology is no longer in use.
Yeah.
Because like, if that's the case, what happened, great. If it just happened to be some random dude and then the labels are like, oh yeah, we need to protect this.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it because that can help protect my voice in the future.
Sure.
in
Name
my
and
face
likeness.
in the future.
Yeah.
It's huge. That's all I have.
Yeah. Name, image, and likeness just was battled for decades in college football. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be here?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because AI. You just told me a story about a guy that had an idea and wrote a bunch of music and then had guest singers on via AI. Part of me is like, dude, that's art. What that guy did, if it popped, that he was making art. Is modern day. Oh, well, but he used AI, so it's not art. Wait a minute, what he did was creative as hell. You know, I don't know. It's but I do go to Terminator as well. How can you not? Sci-fi. I just had a conversation on the last podcast with Marty Manus, and really great guitar player. That big Marvel, DC comic, sci-fi brain. And I told him, I was like, you know what? I think I have that too. I really like sci-fi as well. And now you're telling me you like sci-fi. So I think you have to like sci-fi to be a creative musician.
It makes sense. It's funny because I got into the X-Files. I feel like I watched one episode as a kid and I got scared and I wasn't allowed to anymore.
Yeah.
It was just the wrong episode because I started watching it last year, 2022, because I had ended up in these random conspiracy theory alien rabbit holes on YouTube. And I was like, no, I'm going to watch something I know for sure is written and produced and made up, by a TV network. I don't get confused I started binging that. I'm like on season 8 or 9, I think. And it's so good.
That's the nice thing about shows that were good that lasted like 9 seasons. That you can actually go and binge watch them in that type of form. I think the streaming video whole platform, I have become a binge watcher of shows. If I see it's a 1 season, 2 season show, you start watching, you can't stop. It's amazing. But they're only 1 and 2 seasons. There's no legacy show that in my world, there's no legacy show that is like 10, 12 seasons long. It's just quick. Ted Lasso, 3 seasons, you're done. Was amazing. Succession, 3 seasons. There's so many good shows, but I think that whole platform has changed how we consume back to back to back to back to back. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. But what I do like is they have some of my favorites like pre-streaming. Like I'm a huge true crime person too, so I loved Criminal Minds and CSI.
Yeah.
But Criminal Minds especially. I forgot why I stopped watching. I think I just stopped watching it. I feel like I stopped watching it before the TV quit thing in 2014.
Right.
But to tie a bow on that story, 2015 I wrote a song a week and recorded like every 3 or 4 weeks. 2016 I tried to do the same thing, and for the most part I got like 30 something songs instead of like 49. And then summer 2016, one of my friends was like, "Hey, never heard your music, but I know you work hard. You need to start doing this professionally."
Yeah.
And so I put out a couple songs in the summer and fall. And then in 2017, I released an EP, and 2017 was like my launch year.
Yeah.
But back to the TV thing. Sorry.
How many songs did you have at that point, 2017, after doing this process, like to choose from for an EP? So you were talking about recording how many? 5, 6, 7 songs? For an EP?
So the EP was 6 songs.
Okay, 6 songs.
And I settled on 6 because I was like, 5, everybody expects 5. I'm going to do 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, once I get into 7, 8, it's like, is this an album? Is this an EP?
Yeah, but
so
you had to have,
6 is good.
You had to have like 20 or 30 songs by the ideas at that point.
It's crazy. So I had like closer to like 70 ideas. Right. But like as far as actually already recorded and like ready to go, it was more like 15 or 20. And at this point, I was still, I'm going to use air quotes, mixing and mastering myself. Yeah. Because at this point, my goal was to become the best, like to make radio ready songs. You wanted to be Prince. You wanted to be, exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you wanted to be Prince. Put out the best thing you've ever heard in your life and say, I played everything.
That is exactly what it was. Like, I didn't realize that until I watched a documentary the other day about Prince. And I was like, I'm kind of like following in his footsteps. Obviously not to that level yet. Yeah. But
I mean, that's the aspiration is to, to be able to do everything yourself. I wish I could sing and write lyrics like you do. I can compose and create music, but I'll have lyric ideas and melodies to go along with what my progression is, but like I'm going to sing about, earthworms and butterflies or I don't have the depth. People think in different depths. I don't have that depth of poetry, essentially. But I have, the rhythm and the I have the other side of it. I just can't write lyrics.
See, like the things with me, it's like, man, I wish I could just absolutely shred on guitar.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like that. I can hear lead parts and like sing them.
Yeah.
But like as far as playing them, it's like and like sometimes like you can't sing a lead part. You can't sing the. Yeah. I'm not gonna try to sing some of those parts.
The intricacies of a solo. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I could do like basic lead stuff. It's not like the shredding I want. But I mean, I guess we all have our weaknesses that we like to improve on. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
one more thing about the binge.
Yeah,
I started watching The Simpsons. Like,
oh wow! Shoot. From day one.
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
Wow.
And so there's a saxophone player at my church. Shouts out Alfonso Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually the uncle of my bandmate Jeremy. He plays saxophone, and he's been at the church that I'm still at since I've been going in like 2000. So I've just been around saxophone as a bass player and as just a churchgoer. And Lisa Simpson finally tipped me over the edge. I got a tenor saxophone on Amazon.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
And I'm learning it. Yeah. Like I don't sound great, but like you can recognize the tunes I'm playing. It's just breathing is so hard.
Yeah, and also it's not just the breathing with saxophone or a wind instrument, even I guess trumpet, I guess too, but the reed instruments, I could never get one to do anything than squawk like a duck. It was terrible, But yeah, if you can make one of those instruments sound good, you're doing it.
Man, I want so bad to just like have that thing sitting on stage because like I have songs where a sax solo would work or there's horn parts, and we just extend it. But I'm not that good. Like put it this way, the most I do is like I'll practice like learning different notes because like sometimes like why does that sound sharp, and it's like, oh, there's this side key, it's called a palm key, Shayla, you're leaning on, so you have to be like super aware of your hands, more so than violin. People say, oh, violin's hard. It's like, no, try like saxophone or clarinet even, because like all those, I don't know. But like it's fun though. And what I really like to do is just go on YouTube, like you said, and find jam tracks.
Yeah.
And try to tune as closely as I can so
Yeah.
it doesn't sound painful.
Yeah.
And once I get tuned up, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Hold that thought. So, and I've had this conversation with a couple of different players and different instruments. The saxophone, is that a B flat instrument?
It depends on which one you have. So
okay, fair.
I've got tenor.
Okay.
I forgot what. I have a note written up here. Let's see what it says.
Well, let me ask you this: how do you tune a sax? I mean, you can fine tune the reed, right? Isn't that how you do it?
That's part of it. I don't have my mouthpiece.
Sure.
Do I? Yeah, I do. Well, it's in the little case. So here's the whole. I guess it's called the neck. I think.
Yeah.
But here's where the mouthpiece goes,
Yep.
and basically how
Cork.
far you
That's
stick
cork.
on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's cork
And
too.
this goo is like grease for it because you don't want to break it apparently.
Right.
But basically, how far you stick on the mouthpiece determines tuning.
Right.
So,
Is there
and
a
like
clamp?
I wanted to.
Is there a clamp on that on the mouthpiece when you put it on? Don't you have a fine tightening device that when you
The
find
clamp
it?
is just for the reed.
Oh,
And like,
okay.
but as far as like the what's it called, the mouthpiece on the cork,
Yeah.
you just have to slide it into place. I was like, I'm gonna get smart. I'm gonna mark it with a Sharpie.
Oh.
And I googled it, or
Yeah.
somebody. As soon as I thought of that, somebody in a video was like, no, don't mark it with a Sharpie because just like guitars, the wood cork swells and
Sure.
like contracts with the weather. And I was like, well, I tried.
Yeah.
But it helps
you're
me
thinking.
tune my ear
Yeah.
better too. I'm trying to make stuff as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I can relate to everything
it's
you're
fun.
saying as far as how you think about music and you know, you just kind of you're drawn into it to explore. It's really like another, you know, SpaceX exploration
Yes.
type of a thing. When you're learning and learning an instrument and learning, you go into this world and you just hear it, whether it's good or it's bad. And if you're, I think, a good ear musician, you'll know it immediately, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's how you learn. You learn by hitting the bad notes.
Yes, a lot of those.
I think. I mean, like, yeah. As I was playing guitar and writing stuff, it's like bad. Oh, that's good. Bad. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. You know. And it just takes time and no TV, as we discussed.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say though, obviously I said I'm binging, or I'm not binging. I'm kind of binging The Simpsons because there's so many of them and they're still coming. X-Files,
and they're
I
20
slowed
minutes.
down.
And they're like 15 minutes. Simpsons with no commercials is how long?
Yeah, it depends.
20,
Sometimes it's
25.
like 17.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like 25. And that's the thing I do love about like real TV, like The Criminal Minds, The Simpsons, The X-Files, is like, if it's a good show, it's going to last at least 7 seasons, 10.
Yeah.
And if it's an amazing show, it's going to go past 30 something like The Simpsons. But like these Netflix shows, if it's a good one, they usually like wrap it up around season 4, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I think maybe the Yellowstone might be the longest.
Oh, CBS has picked that up now, so I'm excited.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that they're running that.
And so I've wanted to watch it. Funny Knoxville story with that. So a buddy of mine who grew up, we grew up playing in our neighbor's yard, playing basketball, skateboarding, whatever.
Yeah.
He has his name is Garrett Sale, but his project is called William Wild. He has some music that got placed in there,
Nice.
and it makes sense because it's the kind of Western wide open spaces music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start watching it on Netflix just to find his music.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a good show. I'm actually gonna wait and then watch it for real, not just kind of scrub through it.
Yeah, you'll
But
miss
like,
it. You know.
yeah, you can't. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
But I started watching it now. I'm on like episode 3
Yeah.
because I've been taping them on CBS. So I need to go back. Oh, my computer is at 11%. We should be good for a while. Once it gets down to 5, I'm gonna have to grab my cable though. Sorry about that.
Let's do this. Let's play a track. We're gonna play "Awake," and that'll give you a few minutes to get your charger.
Awesome.
So this is SHAYLA McDANIEL, "Awake."
I don't know why I'm always tired. I sleep all
That's awesome. I really like, and I always have all these things that I hear on these things. I really, really like the use of delay on the vocals as a slap back rhythmic. It was a rhythmic instrument with melody in it. Oh, sorry about that. I got you now. Yeah.
Sorry.
The way the delay was used as an effect to make the melody keep going. That was awesome.
So thank you. I can't take any credit for that one. Shouts out to my mixing and mastering engineer, Maya, at the Sound Layer here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Fun fact, he actually engineers Whitechapel too, which is cool. He is so talented. He does genres from like acoustic folk to gospel to like pop rock like me.
Yeah.
But so originally I didn't have any kind of like ideas for what's it called? The slapback or the delay or anything.
Yeah.
I just had that little kind of to fill that space.
You had the melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but I added this cool delay that I think you'll like. Let me know what you think."
Yeah.
And then he sent it back, and I was like, "Oh man, this is perfect."
Yeah, dope.
And
right?
it's funny because like this whole process is just me in my room. I'll not record, but I used to record drums, but I was like, this is too much time and they don't sound that great.
Yeah.
I program drums, do rhythm guitar, sing, and just keep layering everything till I have it.
Yeah.
And then I get it packaged nicely and send everything to him so he can mix it and master it.
So it's like you're capturing and sending him stems that he can then.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
What that means, everybody, is, and it's important for somebody that might not be.
No, I'm just laughing because we're music nerds.
Yeah, they're totally nerd now. So she's recording her parts and then sending each individual part to somebody to they then mix and produce. I mean, that's a producer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point. And yeah, having a relationship with somebody to take it to the next step, and not have to be the person trying to mix and master that you were talking about earlier, which is an art form, and it
really
major
is.
art form on its own. I've spent thousands sending it to mastering, and you always get what you pay for. Sorry, that's just how it works. But and it's also about taking the ego out of handing it off and using a team of people that you have come to trust to handle that delivery. That's the hard part of finding your network and your tribe.
Yeah, and like I got really blessed because he was the first person I worked with. Yeah. I remember sending out emails to a few places, just kind of trying to get quotes on things. Be like, I have this song in this genre, and it's got 10 drum tracks, each individual drum track, separated out.
Yeah.
And then like, how much do you think it'll be? And then like, some people would answer, and it's like, okay, their communication style I don't really vibe with. There's not enough detail or whatever. Yeah. But Maya, when I asked him, he like, I think we think a lot alike because he sent me this email that was like pages long, bullet points, super detailed. I was like, I like this guy. I think I'm going to work with him.
He really looked under the hood of what you sent him and gave you an honest, forgive me, possibly slightly on the spectrum type of analysis back at you because you're type, we're all on the spectrum of music. And when somebody takes and really listens to what you did and gives you feedback that they really listened, you're already family.
Oh, well, at this point, I hadn't even sent tracks yet. I was just listing the number so that they would get an idea of like, because I guess I'm assuming the more tracks are, the harder it is to mix, But it's just like, like I hadn't even sent tracks yet. I just listed like what types. Yeah. And just the way the response was organized and how detailed it was, I was like, this is going to be great. Let's give it a shot. Yeah. And I've been with them ever since. The only time I haven't worked with Maya is I'm working on a remix of one of my songs. Sure. So the person who's doing the Tropical House remix, they mix and master their own stuff, which is, I feel like more common in those genres. That's how it works. So it's fine. Yeah. And like the rough draft that Arlo sent me is so good. Yeah. It's like, And it's so sick. And I heard it. I was like, I was dancing. I was like, this is my music. And he remixed.
Yeah.
Arlo did amazing. So hopefully you'll get to hear that here soon.
No, send it to me
yeah.
and send it to us as soon as you can. So, full disclosure, we're doing the show together on November 18th.
Yes, Saturday, yes.
Yeah, and that's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, Lawrenceville area at Sweetwater Bar and Grill. We have several other artists. Do you know who's coming? Have you worked with them before?
I have not worked with them before. So
Okay.
basically, what I do, I'm looking the names up, so make sure I don't miss anybody.
Yeah.
So basically, what I like to do when I play shows or start to book shows
Sure.
is look for artists. Shouts out to Ryan Lyman at Purple Storm Booking.
Yep.
They're actually the one who helping put this show together. When I'm helping to try to like add artists to the bill, what I like to do is either get on Instagram
Yeah.
or Bandcamp and be like hashtag insert city name artist or insert city name genre. And so what I did, I just said Atlanta music or Atlanta music scene.
Yeah.
And I literally just started, there's a bunch, which is a good thing. I just started going through everybody until I stumbled on, I'm sorry.
You have to explain that again. So
sorry.
you go to a social media site and they'll do a hashtag and try to kind of tag an area that you're looking to go play.
Yes.
And things pop up and then you start reaching out or Ryan.
I listed first and then I'll start reaching out. Yeah.
Wow.
So basically I'm trying to search within a city of certain genres. And sometimes I get lucky and like it's really fun and good. It's like a scavenger hunt basically.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like it gets good when I see there was some kind of festival or conference or event with a bunch of artists in my genre on it.
Yeah.
It's like I can just go down that list and listen to everybody. And before I reach out to anybody, I try to go to their socials or their website to see if they're already playing a show on the day or days that we're looking to book. And if so, obviously that automatically rules them out. But then I just start emailing and DMing people or however their preferred method is. And then I just set reminders to keep following up. And that's one thing. For all the aspiring musicians out there, follow-up is key.
Yeah.
You need to hear a no. A no answer is not a no. You need to keep following up until it's like, okay, we're like a month out or whatever, and it's too late. I'm going to move on to the next person or whatever.
That's a big one. Tenacity. What you're talking about there is tenacity.
Yes, tenacity.
And I've got some of my best gigs off of just blind, like, all they can do is say no. I'm gonna try to open for Aerosmith. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And just going for it. And sending good material, an EPK, quality stuff. And have you you know what the 10% rule is in sales?
Is it like only 10% of the people you reach
you knock
out of?
on 100 doors, you're going to get 10 yeses.
Yeah, there we go.
And hey,
Concise.
if you can knock on 100, you just have to just follow through and keep pounding the doors,
Yeah, that's it. And it's funny because that's kind of what one of my songs is about, Scared Now. Basically, the song is like, I've reached out to get an opportunity that is way too big for where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And basically the situation was there was a couple festivals in town. I was like, I'd be so sick to play these because I've been to them before as like an audience member. And I just started networking, going to shows and different little conferences and meetups. Next thing you know, I've got two festivals lined up, those two big festivals lined up. And I'm like, I don't even have a band yet. I joked with two of my friends.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to start a band. I'm solo right now, but I'm going to need you. I don't have a band yet. I was like, I got songs, but I don't have a band yet. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking, Shayla, like they have solo artists at these festivals. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
But my thing was, I want to start big and do a band.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I got myself into something too fast.
Yeah, bands are fun. Because
and it's true to the recorded music too. So
yeah, I mean, to a point. But so when you performed those, or now, how do you? What's your lineup? Do you just play by yourself with a looper, or do you have some playing with tracks? What are you doing?
So from the beginning, it's always been, it's band-wise at least, it's always been a trio.
Sure.
People have moved away or gotten married and busy or whatever. or joined other bands. So it's been like a rotating cast kind of.
Yeah.
And like everything has been amicable. It's just basically trying to align 3 adult schedules is nearly impossible.
Yep. It
I
sure
don't
is.
see how the bands with like 6 and 7 people, how they do it.
Yeah.
But so it's always me singing and playing guitar, and I always have a drummer.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll have a bassist. Sometimes I'll have a keyboard player who also covers the bass. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, question. I'm going to raise my hand.
I'm sorry.
On the track we just listened to, Awake, what was that you playing bass? That was one of my
Yes.
questions. Yeah, it sounded
Yes.
good. I really like. I mean,
Thank you.
it's good bass playing. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's my
Absolutely.
main squeeze right there.
It was all good.
Bang.
So you played guitar on that track. You funked around, pop, tight, bassed it. Who did the drum loop? Was that something that you had come up with and sent to the producer?
Yeah. So basically, with drums, I usually have a beat in my head.
Yeah.
And to save time, instead of programming it out piece by piece, I try to find.
Yeah.
I use Logic, which is. I originally used GarageBand, but I needed some more meters, so I switched to Logic.
Yeah, Logic. You can do anything I can do in Pro Tools over here.
Oh yeah.
You can do in Logic. But I do have something drum wise that off air I want to talk to you about what I use.
Yeah.
And there's a software that I can turn you on to that's going to open. You will never have drum, issues as far as making really good drum sounds. It'll be cool.
Like the thing, so what I do, like I normally have a beat in my head that I want, but
Yeah.
to save time, I just kind of scroll through because they have this thing
Sure.
called Drummer.
Yeah.
And basically there's a grid where you can drag a dot and you can go simple and quiet
Yeah.
or loud and complex. And like there's a whole grid.
Right.
And it changes like, and of course it's like you can tell, oh, this is supposed to be Ringo Starr because the little,
Yeah.
was it the profile? And like you pick, there's like tons of different
Styles, yeah.
genres.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll find something close to my beat and then I'll put it on my drum kit that I like. And then when it's close, I'll just go tweak some MIDI notes. But like a lot of my songs, I just program the drums in directly on my
Sure.
computer
Yeah.
keyboard. But I've also got one of the Roland drum pad things,
Okay,
the
cool.
SPSX.
Yep.
We used to use that for tracks, but now we use something else that I'm going to explain that's really sick. But anyway,
Yeah.
so like drums, like I write them for the most part.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is I've learned how to use MIDI notes
Yep.
in the right
Yep.
way. So it sounds natural
Yeah,
and not
yes.
like robotic.
That's what I do. Yeah.
It's so fun. I love it.
So how?
But yeah.
So how analytical does the brain have to be to do what we're doing? To sit in front of a MIDI key roll, right?
Yeah.
And like, nope, that's not right. That's not right. 16th note, zoom in, quantize, boom, there it is. Boom, to sit there and edit that kind of detail takes a different type of brain. It just
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Because some people are like, this is boring. Why
Oh.
do you do this? This is as bad
Yeah.
as Excel spreadsheets. It's like, well.
Oh, it's worse
I
for
mean, it's
them
just-
because it makes sound every time you do
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife would be like, and that's why my studio now is detached from the house.
Oh, nice.
Because I when I'm mixing, I will listen to a 4-minute song 37 times in a sitting.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
tomorrow night, I'll do it for another 80. You know what I mean? And that's after listening to it in your car and doing all those types of things. To get different mix references.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do your, when you're messing around like that, how do you do your playback? Is it earbuds, which I think is what a lot of people use? But how do you kind of go about that?
So when I used to mix and master myself,
Yeah.
when I still had the goal of becoming like Prince basically and
Yeah.
doing everything, including the engineering like that,
Yeah.
I would listen on literally every speaker I had. I would listen. My main one was my car because that's a good
Car,
reference
yeah.
for me
Yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
well pre-COVID, because that's where I would be going to and from work, driving, not to and from work, other errands and stuff. So I knew what everything sounded like, my music and other people's alike. So the
Yeah.
car, regular headphones, earbuds, studio monitors. I would hook up to the TV's sound bar and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how it sounded on there.
100%, yeah.
Just like little cheap Bluetooth speakers,
Yeah.
and of course the phone speaker, because that's
Yeah,
where a
how's
lot
it
of
gonna
people
sound
listen,
on the
just
phone?
straight out of the phone. But like I stopped trying to I guess, mix and master my own stuff. Like one of the main reasons I did it, because I thought it was fun and I liked it and it'd be a cool skill.
Don't give
but
up.
also too,
Don't give up.
Oh
on
yeah.
it.
Like I can do, like, I know my way around like all the controls and stuff, and I can do decent stuff, especially for like more stripped back stuff. But like more full band sound, it's a little tougher for me.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't have the money right now to invest in this, and I don't even know if this is gonna be a serious thing for me. And then once I found out, after I put out that first EP, 26 letters, you can tell that I did it myself.
Yeah.
But it got some college radio play, so I'll take it. It wasn't horrible.
Hey, you got your art at the time on the canvas intended. Right?
Exactly.
You know?
And so like I was like, okay, music is going to be serious. I'm going to pursue this professionally now. So I'm going to invest in it because I want it to be truly radio quality, not just like demo quality.
You're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
You know. Well, that's awesome. You know, when I'm writing songs and inspiration comes out of nowhere, you know, I go to my it's just a MacBook Pro with a bunch of storage, a bunch of RAM, and softwares that I do video and audio and all this types of stuff. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have that workstation right there. Creatively, I would be, if I didn't have that during the pandemic, obviously I would have I've struggled more than I did. As an introvert, though, you said COVID was like, I love this.
Yeah. And it was funny on Instagram seeing all the memes. Like, obviously, I hated that people were getting sick and dying and people were losing jobs.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like for a lot of people, it was a good required rest. It's like, I feel like God was like telling a lot of people, hey, you need a rest. Forced. That's the word I'm looking for.
It was forced.
Like, you slow down and just breathe.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, breathe inside your own space in your own home.
Yeah.
But slow down, breathe, enjoy life, don't stress, you know. And that kind of helped me too.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's when I was like, I can't sit still. What am I going to do? Ooh. So I wrote a whole 90-minute show and programmed video and all. I went nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I created a whole new band during the pandemic. That was the only thing that got me through it. It was a struggle for me. Because I'm an extrovert. So I love people. You know, I like talking to people and being around people. And it was, you know, I had my wife and my cat.
Oh, yeah.
And when I'm used to kind of being around, I see probably no less than 150 people a day at my work to talk to and coach and everything. And not talking to that many people when you're used to is a struggle.
Yeah.
But we made it. We made it.
Yes, we did.
Oh my goodness. Or have we? I don't know. You know, as COVID.
It's like the flu now. Like, I just got my updated shot. Not like the flu. Yeah. But we're going to have to just keep getting shots every year.
It's like the flu. I literally had it. Today's Friday. I had it I had it Monday, Tuesday of last week. I got it. And day 1 and 2, terrible. Then I got over it. Here I am. No, but when I say that we're kind of in that state of heightened anxiety with everything that's going on now, you know, we've had COVID. Now we've had, you know, Ukraine, and we've had all this crazy. Just I don't know where we are in the world, and so I just jump into music.
Yeah.
And
same here.
It's probably an avoidance tactic, but man, that outside world sucks.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, what are you gonna do? You know, you just pray. I like that you've been talking about playing at the church. Do you do like worship service? Have you ever done that type of thing? Because I did it for 15 years and I loved it. So like my main role is bass, and I'm low key I'm not the minister of music, the person who's over the music department like officially. But you're in. But there. I'm low key the music. Yeah, I'm low key the music director, because like we have a track machine. We have what is it I'm blanking on the brand, but it's the SR6 Alesis, the SR16, the drum machine. Yep. And for like extra like loops and stuff, and then for when the organist isn't there, sometimes I'll run tracks. Yeah.
And sometimes I'll play guitar to the music. Like the music we do is mostly like contemporary gospel music. So like more Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, and what's his name? My favorite, Hezekiah Walker type stuff.
Yeah.
We do gospel like that, like probably 60% of the time, and then the other 40% is more contemporary, like 1/5 minor 6/4 type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so obviously the Sundays when the organ player is out, or keys player, because he plays keys and organ.
Sure.
Who's actually Jeremy Allen, my bandmate, and it's funny because the drummer. Isaiah Mobley, he's my drummer now. So like my band is the church band. It's just we kind of switch instruments some.
There you go.
It works perfectly because we see each other all the time. We know how we play, which is perfect. So transitioning to my band was great.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, I run.
You have to think about it. So a band that plays together every Sunday, and you're playing together. I don't care what you're playing.
Yeah,
you're playing together.
Exactly.
I mean, it had to be an easy process to switch over. And if you're a musician, get in church. Play in a church band. See if you can even do it.
It helps so much.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how I learned.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to play by ear. I play by ear now.
Yep.
And what I cheated and was doing growing up and learning in high school, learning bass, the way the stage or pulpit or whatever is angled, I can see the organ player's feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's playing bass. And our last organist, his favorite key was C sharp. But it transposes, so like I would know if we're playing in A flat, if the song is in A flat, but he's transposed, so his feet are in C sharp, I would know that like an F sharp is the 4, which means it's really like a C sharp in real life. So like that was all in circles and super nerdy. Sorry for all the non-music nerdy stuff.
That's important stuff. Yeah.
But basically, like I would know if I got lost, I would know what to play because sometimes he'd have it on mute, or he'd notice I get lost because gospel songs are fast.
Sure.
And there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And so he would hear me kind of drop out. I won't play wrong notes. I'll just kind of fade out and like get really quiet.
Yeah.
So if he notices me, it happens now too with Jeremy. If they notice me like fade out, he'll start moving with his feet so I can get back on track, which is super helpful. And Jeremy likes A flat. So now it's like I can see stuff and it helps with other bands too. So I'm in like Knoxville. I play bass for several amalgamations of bands like that do different things.
Sure.
And it's funny because
that's what you're doing.
Yes.
You're working.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. Like there's this one keyboard player, shouts out to Haley LaBelle.
Yeah.
Like we think and see music the same way. We weren't like specifically trained on our instruments or whatever. We just kind of learned growing up.
Does not matter.
And like and our thing is like we always have to be together. Obviously, I like to make eye contact with a drummer, and it's easy to see somebody moving like that. But she's like, "Hey, we need to be together on stage, so you can watch my left hand and give me the keys and the numbers."
Yeah. Wow.
So we like work together like that.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
I'm a
big
natural
one.
number person.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I learned that at church too.
That's what
on accident.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was called that until like recently. I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
a thing."
I don't know it like I should. I know it enough to like suck. But that is a superpower. This is a big point, ladies and gentlemen. If you're starting to learn music and theory, you always hear about music theory. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh, calculus. It's like this overcomplicated system of telling you what's supposed to work musically. And I try to break every one of those rules. But the number system, the Nashville's number system or the gospel number system is probably the most important thing that you as a musician could learn to be able to play essentially any song and transpose. The huge thing is transpose. I struggle. They're like, oh, the song's in this. And then I get there and it's not in that. And I've got my chord forms. I don't transpose very well. So that's why I actually played bass at church for many, many years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it just
Nice.
like the root notes and the vibe of tunes, I'm there. But when you ask me to kind of go down that, it was supposed to be in A flat, but it's in C. It's like, oh my good, okay, but I'm starting. My brain analyzes that in a uncomfortable way. So that's very good that you learn that process, and in church, if you have an opportunity to play at church, it's not going to hurt you. You need to do it. Go.
Yeah. Like, and it's super helpful because sometimes you'll have to change up on the fly. Like you said,
Yeah.
the keys, especially if a singer's voice isn't acting right that day or whatever.
Right.
And what helps too is like, there's a lot of improv that happens because it's live music essentially.
You're looking
and so
at each other.
if the keyboard player can look at me and throw a 3 up,
Yeah.
or we have our signal
Okay.
for 6 is this, or like 6 is like
Yeah.
it's, it's like the
awesome.
way and I feel like as musicians, I could play in a band with a group of people who don't speak my language.
Yep.
I don't speak
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah.
And we can just give each other looks
Yeah.
and know what to play next and how to do. That's the musical language. So
Yeah.
not like the number system is great, but like
Sure.
just being around other musicians helps a
that's
ton.
that's the difference between ear training and theory and knowledge or numbers. Is me looking at you and I just go like this. You're gonna know I'm gonna go to a color note. I'm gonna go to a color
Yes,
note
exactly.
that means something to me, and I hope you like it. That's what I'm doing when I
Yeah. Well, no, yeah.
But it is very true. I've thought about this many times. Like I could go to just the Philippines. I could go to the Philippines and go to a nice seedy pool hall that happens to have a music stage or something, and I could play with people that don't speak my language because I can just listen and I morph into whatever music's being played at that spot right then. And that's
Yeah.
that is a superpower.
It takes years to develop though,
Oh,
but
my
it
goodness,
definitely is one. Yeah.
Do you think
'Cause
that do you think that your superpower? Do you think that you're born with a proclivity at a minimum to being able to do that, or were your parents musicians or lineage? Do you have musicians in your lineage?
So no, like my
Wow.
mom and dad can carry a tune. My youngest aunt on my mom's side, she could sing really well.
Yeah.
But like no musicians or anything. My dad loves music, so does my mom. But
in there
like as far
somewhere.
as it,
It's there somewhere.
yeah, as far as it like being born with it, it's funny because I'm a science person, so I watch science. It's like, and there was a YouTube video that says, "Are some people born with good rhythm?" And kind of
Yes.
find out basically in
Yes.
utero, the more the mom listens to music, the
Yeah.
more the baby's brain will develop. I know to clap on the 2 and 4.
Yeah.
You know, so basically in utero, you
Yeah.
have to listen to a lot of music and speak to the baby and sing to the baby.
That might be a
to
very
help.
good point. That might be an extremely good point because, yeah, my mother was definitely playing music in bands when I was in utero, and I have no choice. I have to play music. It doesn't. What I have to understand is it doesn't have to always be promoted and heard by everybody. Maybe I could just be writing for myself.
Yeah.
But there's something about wanting people to accept it and like it that's uncomfortable too.
Yeah. I feel like that's a thing for a lot of artists. I heard a clip shouts out again to the No Labels Necessary podcast, a clip from Rick Rubin
Oh wow.
and then John Mayer
Yeah.
about artists liking their music.
Yeah.
And John Mayer, I'm probably gonna butcher
Please
this,
do.
and it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah.
But I encourage you and the viewers and listeners to look it up after the podcast. But basically, Rick Rubin and John Mayer were like, "Hey, artists eventually get to a point." Artistically, or at least just like I guess ego wise or maturity wise, that
Yeah.
every song they make is not going to be good to them, even though someone else may love it. Like
Yeah.
a song can be structurally and technically good and great and everything, but if it's like a bluegrass banjo song and you don't like bluegrass banjo music,
Yeah.
doesn't mean someone won't enjoy it. And basically, it's kind of like, I guess, being okay with the fact that you can write outside of your taste, and maybe one day your taste will catch up and you'll like it, maybe it won't.
Yeah.
But also, people are like, well, what if you get stuck with a song that becomes a hit?
Yeah.
As John Mayer,
Yeah.
and then you have to play it every night. And he was
Hey.
like, well, eventually I'm going to love it faster.
Yeah, that's a very good point. At some point, you're talking about a high level contracts are
yeah.
involved. You're doing deals
Yeah.
in daylight and on carpet, talking about 7 albums to record, blah blah blah, and at some point it becomes a hey, it's Tuesday. I need a song. Remember we were talking earlier. I wrote a song every Tuesday. Tuesday went and came and went, and John didn't release an idea. And there's at some point where those at that level, you have to produce content, and not everyone's going to be and songs that you put out there as just boom. Here's an idea. Here's an idea. Boom. For those guys, boom, it becomes a hit. Say what do you want to say from John Mayer. I bet he wrote that in about 3 minutes.
For real.
You know what I mean?
It's so good though.
Yeah, it's in a movie of some sort. I don't remember which movie it was, but Prince, same thing. We talked about Prince.
Yeah.
At some point, he was locked into such a record contract that he had to change his name to a symbol.
I know. The artist formerly known as.
In protest of being locked in to a contract when he was a kid that he signed. Yeah. Just like student loan, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
They student loaned his ass musically into 47 records. And he was like, man, this is the bullshit. Here's the good stuff. I'm going to release this other stuff, which was actually still good, just to fulfill a contract.
Yeah.
And ultimately, brilliant mind, amazing artist, succumbed to the opioid crisis. It's crazy.
Sadly.
We are living in noodle time.
We are. And it's so sad because I didn't know that it was actually fentanyl that he had died from until I saw that documentary a couple months ago.
Yep.
And it was basically because all the dancing and movement he had done on stage had caught up to his hip. And whoever was supplying his, what he thought was like an actual prescription of hydrocodone. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I get it.
Sorry.
I get it.
It just blows my mind.
I'm going to preach with you on this. I got goosebumps. It came down to, yes, that's what the narrative was. He danced so much, his hips hurt so bad that, he had to take this stuff. No, the stuff was put out by the pharmaceuticals that got him hooked on to, because
that's how they get you.
I got joint pain just like this, and I'm like, man, I don't want to take a leave every day of my life because I know if I do it, it's not good for me. And the pharmaceuticals put drugs like that out there for him to get relief to be able to do the next show tomorrow night, where he danced and sung his ass off till he was in pain for you, the consumer of music, and got hooked on the painkillers. That guy was like a healthy eater, working out, that kind of thing.
He didn't drink either, did he?
No, he got I don't remember what company it is, but he got hooked and then had to go to the street because the laws said, oh, well, you can't get so many pills. Yeah. And then he went to a CVS that was closed, so he went back behind the dumpster, made a deal, and next thing you know, he's on an airplane with Narcan.
It's sad. And, like, I had knee surgery in college.
Yeah.
Because I tore my knee up playing intramural basketball. And they said, okay, we're going to give you this prescription. I said, wait a minute. No, that's the stuff that people with back surgery get hooked on, and then it's game over. I don't want that. And then my parents were like, don't worry, we're going to keep it locked up and then get rid of it once you don't need it. So thank God I'm not hooked on it. But like that stuff, I see why.
Easy to get hooked on.
Man, it's so easy because it makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
It takes all the pain away.
Yeah, it does. And especially like you have a surgery, that's actually what it's meant for. Severe cases of injury and surgery. But yeah, it's just a sad situation. We lost too many people.
Yeah.
Tom Petty, too many people from this type stuff. And we got to figure that one out on top of everything else.
Sorry to go negative
hole.
Nancy.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, no, I mean, the Prince thing gets me. It hurts me in my soul because I was a real big Prince fan. And as a guitar player, inspirational. The outro solo on Let's Go Crazy may be the best thing. I've said this every podcast now. That might be the best thing ever recorded.
It is very good.
It's so intense. And that's church. The outro to that outro to church.
Straight up.
Is, And so again, back to that, circling back. So, do you want to play a song in studio? Do you have good thoughts for bad times? What's that all about?
Yes, I do. So, basically, not basically, I do have depression, and I noticed that
Sorry
a lot
to
of
bring
times
you
what
down
can
with my vibe.
oh no, this is perfect. I'm a
Yeah.
mental health advocate. I talk about this to get it out there and break the
Yeah.
stigma. So this is perfect.
Yeah, it's important.
But like basically I like to store up good memories. So when I feel the darkness coming on, I can kind of fall back on that and be like, okay, and kind of pull myself out of it. Like it's one of those
Wow.
activities I do when I start to feel getting down. But this has to be in the early stages when I catch it, because like once I'm too far, just happy thoughts isn't gonna help. You know.
Right.
obviously.
So you
but
have
like
a positive,
to help.
you have a positive thought bank
Yes.
of important positive thoughts that you store up in case of emergency.
Yes. Exactly.
That's an amazing tactic. Elaborate, please. That's a strong one.
Shouts out to my therapist. She helps with a lot, obviously, and my medication, but with like actual tools and things.
Yeah.
And most of it's around music. And even in the second verse, there's a line. I usually don't like break down my stuff this much, but I will for you, my friend.
I appreciate it.
So there's a, yeah, no problem. There's a line in there that says, feeling the concrete on my skin, or no, rough pavement on my skin. And that's specifically referring to at the general admission concerts when you want to get a good spot. So you go and wait in line.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you end up sitting on, I end up sitting on sidewalks and curbs because I don't like to stand up for too long outside of the show because I need to save my back, knees, and feet for once I get in there to stand up. So I'll sit down, and I think specifically of like summertime or at least fall time because I put my hands on the concrete and I feel the rough pavement.
Yeah, and hot.
And it's like, oh, yeah, definitely in the South. Rough pavement on my skin. It's like the anticipation and build up to go to see one of your favorite bands perform. So you're like just sitting literally outside on the ground talking to complete strangers about how did you hear about the band? How many times have you seen them? You know? So that's like one specific memory that like I come back to a lot. And it's not like specifically one show, but like happens at a lot of shows, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing in the song. And then this song kind of came about actually because this is one of the ones that I wrote the bass line for and the drum beat for first. It was just in Logic. It was there for forever. Yeah. And then, not forever, maybe like a month or so. Because I've come back to songs like 5, 6 years after the fact. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I had that, and I was like, let's. I was like, okay, I have the chorus part. Let's see, or the what's it called, the bass line and the drums. Let's just look through my list of notes and things and see what fits with this. Yeah. And I didn't find anything. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sing. And a lot of times it starts like gibberish until you like have an idea, and it's like, I'm gonna try to sing this. And then it became, I haven't felt this good in a while. And I was like, I'm just gonna keep riffing off this and see what happens. And kept riffing and tweaking, and then next thing you know, like a week or two later, I have a song. So
now, when you write, do you do like intro, verse, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, bridge? Do you have a formula that you like to write in, or a style?
99% of the time, it's like verse 1. Sometimes there's an intro, sometimes there's not, depending on how fast the song is. Because I don't want to bore people. Yeah. Verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus is typically it. Sometimes I'll throw in a pre-chorus or a guitar solo or whatever. Mm-hmm. But normally that basic pop structure is what I use. Sometimes it's different.
Okay, talk about that pop structure. What is, because I'm not a pop guy, I'm a rock guy.
Sorry.
What would be pop structure?
Verse, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus. Yep. And then sometimes I'll throw in a pre-chorus. Yeah. If it's one of those songs that uses the same chord progression all the time, just to kind of mix it up.
Or lead into a guitar solo or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's basically the pop structure. But
I like to call those turn signals. Okay, so
I like that.
We do something, we do a chorus, we do something, we do a chorus. Now a turn signal, and it's either bridge or guitar solo build up, or there's something happens different that's not so different that it's like, okay, that's the bridge. It's just a little, little Tabasco. It's a little Tabasco.
Yes, exactly.
And then make the change.
Yeah.
So this song is called "Good Thoughts or Bad Times."
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
get the guitar out and
Oh yeah.
and
Sorry.
let's hear what we got on that.
Righty. Oh, and I'm gonna do a merch pub too.
Say
I've
that
actually
again.
got the shirt, a merch pub.
Oh yes,
plug.
yes. Okay, yeah.
Good thought. What was I say? Good thoughts for bad times.
Yeah.
Come and hold and comfort my mind. You can't see it too good with the mic.
No, I
but
can see
it's
it.
on my website, SHAYLAMcDaniel.com/shop.
Yep. ShaylaMcDaniel.com. And it's not McDaniels, it's McDaniel.
Yes, just single one.
Yep. Are you on the internet? Are you the only Shayla McDaniel?
No, it's funny. I had to start adding R into stuff like my Twitter and Facebook and Instagram because there's another Shayla McDaniel
Yep.
who looks kind of like me and who's
Yeah.
about my age.
And plays guitar. In Ireland.
Luckily,
you know.
luckily she doesn't. She's like a makeup person now.
Okay.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
she was like just a normal person, but now she does makeup and whatnot, like makeup tutorials. I'm like, that's so cool. Maybe we should team up.
You
Shayla,
should
Shayla
team
show.
up.
I need to find her contact information.
Yeah, I just did a podcast with Hannah Murphy out of of Atlanta, who's a acoustic songwriter singer, and there's a Hannah Murphy guitar in New York City that is a
wow.
classical guitarist, and I'm like, you guys have to hook up. I mean, and for you not to hook up and
That would be
do a
so
track
cool.
together. So I digress. I apologize. So
Oh, you're good.
yeah,
You're good.
Shayla McDaniel. Let's hear Good Thoughts for Bad Times.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Haven't felt this good in a while. I don't want this time to end. Storing up my memories like photos in my mental filing cabinets. Good thoughts for the bad times. Thoughts for the bad times. Cold, hold and comfort my mind. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The scent of pine on the wind. Rough pavements on my skin. All the light shining from your face. Feeling your heartbeat on my chest. Good thoughts for the bad times. Come and hold and comfort my mind. Gone back to umbrella for a rainy day. Folded up, put it in my pocket for when the sun goes away. Good thoughts for the bad times. Come and hold and comfort my mind. Good my mind.
Nice, very nice. We were
Thank
talking.
you.
We were talking earlier about that that guitar. That's a Ibanez Alcourt 335 type hollow body. That guitar
Yes.
is awesome.
Oh, it's semi-hollow, actually.
Yeah,
So
semi-hollow.
no feedback.
Well, yeah. Well, if you you can get loud enough, you'll get feedback from a semi-hollow body.
Oh, yeah, I've done it, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Well, that's awesome. So, you know, I look forward to meeting you in person on the 18th.
Yeah, me too.
Are you going to be in town earlier? What's your schedule that weekend?
So it's funny because I've got a show in Knoxville on the 16th. I've got Nashville the 17th, and I've got Atlanta the 18th. Otherwise, I would have probably came up a day early or so because I like Atlanta. Atlanta's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Traffic, not so much, but Atlanta's a cool city.
Yeah. Well, you just got to, when you're in traffic, you just have to settle in and be where you are. But so we'll see you on the 18th in Atlanta at Sweetwater Bar and Grill and Sweet Soul Sister. Do you know some of the other artists? Can you pull that up?
Yes.
Pull that promo up.
I've got Kyla Simone and Erica Janae.
Yep. And Smoochy Face, which is a live band that
Cool.
you're gonna like. It's a really
Oh, I see it up here. Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Smoochy
Smoochy
Face.
Face is there. Sweet Soul Sister, and it's gonna be a good night of original music for $12. Come out and join us. If you're anywhere near the North Atlanta area on that night, you should come out. We're gonna do. Sweet Soul Sister is gonna do a song that I don't do cover songs, and they came to me and was like, "Hey, what do you think about doing this song?" And I was like, "What are you thinking?" And they started playing it, and it was like it's like you were talking about doing a Rick Astley song. I bet.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you take that and kind of flip it upside down. to
Oh,
where
yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know the song, but it's like it's been given to you on a white dish pizza tray when you're accustomed to, you know, pepperoni New York.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do just to make it
Yeah.
fun for you to, you know, to be able to do somebody else's tunes.
Exactly.
But Shayla, I appreciate you coming on. I really,
Oh, thanks for having me. This has been fun.
you know, I really appreciate the frank talk and really nerding out on the creative process.
Yeah, me too.
I can relate to you. Like, we're gonna have fun talking and hanging out
Yeah.
because just getting very intricate with what music means to you. First off, obviously you can't live without it.
Yeah.
But you know, just to see how it affects you and how you approach it, it's inspiring. So I hope there's artists out there that follow you and you're in your path.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you at the show, and November 18th, we'll see you at Sweetwater Bar and Grill.
See you
All right.
there.
Good night.
You're watching the Original Music Podcast with your hosts Raymond Hems and Rick Gaffman.